Just a little detail.
Yeah. Welcome. Est-ce que j'ai besoin de traduire en français? Vous parlez anglais?
Tu parles anglais? You don't speak English.
I only speak English.
Everybody should know the language right now.
You don't know him by heart.
I wish.
So, in English.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobisham Stapitam Nilabhintale Swayam Pankaramayam Bhavati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Ram Sarvadam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Samjivam Sadhaitam Sarvatam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Vishnapadam Sahagana Manta Shri Shakram Vitascha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinamando Jagapate Gopeshwara Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tathagam Hare Hare Krishavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakaratarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Veja Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Shri Rama Prabhu Nityananda Shri Hare Radha Shri Rasati Gauranga Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Donc Srimad Bhagavatam 8:22. So to speak. Bali Maharaj surrenders his life. Indrasena Maharaj Indrasena Maharaj
Indrasena Maharaj Yahe Bhab Bhadab Asab Deb
Yahibo Bhadramastute
Yaibo Bhadramastute Alam Svagimi Pratyam
Sutalam Svagimi Pratyam
Sotalam Svargibi Pratyam
Yatibi
Yatibi
Parivaritaha Yatibi Parivaritaha Indrasena Maharaj
Indrasena Maharaj
Yahibo Bhadramastute
Yahibo Bhadramastute
Sutalam Svagimi Pratyam
Sadalam Swargibi Pratyam
Yativi Parivaritaha
Janatibi Parivarditaha
Indrasena Maharaj
Indrasena Maharaj
Yahibo Badram Astute
Yahibo Badram Astute
Sutalam Swagivi Pratyam
Sutalam Swargibi Pratyam
Yativi Parivaritaha
Yatibi Parivarditaha
Please.
Indrasena Maharaja
Indrasena Maharaj
Yahibho Badramastute
Yahibo Badram Astute
Sutalam Sargibi Partyam
Sutalam Swargibi Pratyam
Gyatibi Paravartutaha
Yatibi Parivaritaha Indrasena Maharaj Yahibo Badram Sutalam Swargibi Pratyam Indrasena Maharaj Yahibo Badram Astute Sutalam Swargibi Pratyam Janatibihi Parivarditaha Indrasena Maharaj Yahibo Badram Astute Sutalam Swargibi Pratyam Janatibihi Parivarditaha
Mataji. Indrasena
Indrasena
O Maharaj Bali
O Maharaj Bhali
Maharaj
Maharaj
O King
O King
Yahi
Yahi
Better go
Badgo
Ho
Bho
O King
O King
Badram
Badram
all auspiciousness
All auspiciousness
as to
Stop
let there be
Live there be
take
Te
unto you
unto you
Sutalam
Sutalam
in the planet known as Sutal
Thus the planet known as Sutala
Swagibi
Swargibi
by the demigods
by the demigods
Pratyam
Pratyam
desirable
Desirable
Gyatibi
Yatibi
by your family members
by family members
Parivaritaha
Parivaritaha
surrounded.
Surrounded
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. O Bali Maharaj Indrasen, now you may go to the planet Sutal, which is desired even by the demigods. Live there peacefully, surrounded by your friends and relatives, all good fortune unto you. Report. Bali Maharaj was transferred from the heavenly planet to the planet Sutal, which is hundreds of times better than heaven, as indicated by the words Swagibi Pratyam. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead deprives his devotee of material opulences, this doesn't mean that the Lord puts him into poverty. Rather, the Lord promotes him to a higher position. The Supreme Personality of Godhead didn't ask Bali Maharaj to separate from his family. Instead, the Lord allowed him to stay with his family members, Gyatibi Parivaritaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, in this subsection, what struck me is that just as we're not our bodies, we are not our position. We are not our title. It's a very interesting state of affair because remember, Bali Maharaj was grandson of Prahlad, so he's basically born a Daitya. Daitya means demon. Diti was the mother of the Asuras. Of course, they had the same husband, Diti and Aditi, and so many other wives. But he was coveting the place of Indradev. Remember, that was the whole purpose of conquering the Brahmanda, the universe. He wanted to take over the post of Indra. And interestingly enough, he managed to succeed. But when he got blessed by the Lord, in verse 32, it's mentioned, you will achieve the position of Indradev. And in the meantime, in interim, you will get Sutala. So, again, Indradev means, Krishna says in the Gita, amongst the demigods, I'm Indradev. So he started off from being a Daitya. He coveted the place, the position of Indradev. He got it. And what is the boon given by the Lord to him? You become Indradev. In other words, Lord Krishna plays with the motion of our desire. And the point is that we are not our position. We are not our title. His title was chief of the Asuras, and he is going to become the chief of the universe. Isn't that satirical or sarcastic? A little bit. Quite a bit, actually. So, same with Dhruv, remember? Dhruv Maharaj, right? He was quite fruitive in the beginning. He wanted a position higher than his great-grandfather, namely Lord Brahma. And after 6 months practice of intense Ashtanga Yoga, he managed to tilt over the planet on its orbit. So what a feat. And at the end of the day, Lord Prishnigalba came on the shoulder of Garud. And which kind of boon did he give him?
A better place.
He told him,
The eternal planets.
you're going to rule for 32 or 36,000 years in interim. And at the end of the day, you will get Dhruvlok, which is actually better than Brahmalok. So we can see that Lord Krishna satisfies our desires irrespective of our position. Just like we're not a body, we're not a position, we're not a title. We can, by dint of elevating our consciousness, we can totally change the whole picture of our destiny. It has nothing to do with position, title, performance. Oh, I'm performing so well. Nothing to do with that. It has to do with how we propitiate the Lord's mercy. That bypasses all other forms of considerations. And this is what to be retained in this lesson, that irrespective of our position, irrespective of our birth, irrespective of our guna karma, irrespective of our adhikar, eligibility, if we place ourselves under the mercy of the Lord, we can not only fulfill our initial desire, but we can get the full mercy of Lord Krishna, according to his design. Sritasa Savakamani, Mayi sanasya matparaha, buddhi yogam upashritya, machita satatam bhav. Lord Krishna. He says, in all circumstances, Arjuna, 1857, just place yourself under my protection, under my mercy. It's like a shower. You know, the shower is there, you press the button, but if you don't put yourself entirely under, you cannot blame the shower, and you cannot blame others. The shower is on, the water is falling. So, in the same way, the rain of the mercy of Lord Krishna is always falling. It's falling irrespective on the rock, in the sea. Is there a need of sea or water falling on the ocean? On the rock, on the fertile land? So, in the same way, this Bali Maharaj is exceptionally unique because he's Kripa Siddha. He had no given sadhana. Where is it written that he was practicing sadhana bhakti? No. But in one gesture, and he stuck to it, he managed to place himself entirely under the mercy. From a Detya member, he became a Mahajan. As glorious as Shukdev Goswami, Bhishma, Lord Shiva, Kumars, Narad, etc. 33, yeah? So this is just, Sutala is just interim. Sutala is this planet, and Lord Vandev will become his doorkeeper. But already Lord Krishna is making plan. Whom can I post? This is good management, actually. Whom can I put in that post? Next. Lord Krishna will not consider where we're coming from. Whom can I put? Yes, he fits in. In the next Manvantara, Savarna, there's 14 Manvantara in one Kalpa. Next one, I don't know the next one, or Savarni means we are to Virvajvata. Savarni is which number?
I don't know.
We are the 7th of Manvantara now. Anyway, in that particular Savarni Manvantara, it will be placed. So this is actually the mercy of Lord Krishna. Yes. Mercy of the Lord. So it's like, it reminds me of Srimad Bhagavatam, those analogies. The silkworm. You know this analogy? 5th canto? The silkworm. As you know, the silkworm is going to transform itself into a butterfly. There's the long process. Beginning, it's a larva. You say larva?
Larva.
In English? Larva. Then transformation. Then it becomes, I forgot the step, but larva. Then cocoon, I think it goes into a cocoon.
Yeah, cocoon.
And then gradually silkworm. And then gradually it pops out. And if you are unaware, as a little kid, let's say, if you disrupt the process of transformation, let's say you interrupt, then you do great harm to that living entity. So in the same way, we should not disrupt. Prabhupada said in the Gita, we should not disrupt our wholesome nature. At no cost should we disrupt our wholesome nature. Because by nature, we are Krishna conscious. The mind is a product of goodness. We should not forget this. When ahankar, the original ingredient is after Mahatattva is ahankar. When ahankar, false ego, is influenced by the mode of goodness, it creates the mind. The mind is meant to be in the mode of goodness, by definition. Diligence is mode of passion.
Really?
Yeah? Sankaya word, Canto. So the demigods are also expansions of the mode of goodness. When ahankar touches the mode of goodness, it creates demigods, the mind. So the mind is naturally, intrinsically in the mode of goodness. So we can see that irrespective of your origin, if you place yourself under the mercy of the Lord, not only you are in the mode of goodness, but you are promoting yourself to back to God, basically. Because he had a good intelligence to understand, to intrinsically, he could guess, yes, this is the right move to do. So we should always consider this point. Otherwise, we have to remember we are Tatashta Shakti. And Tata means bank. A river has two banks. There's not 5 banks to a river. There's 2 banks, left and right. So Tatashta, we are, Sta means situated, Griha Sta. We are situated in the Griha. Tatashta, we are marginally situated in this Chit Shakti, yes, we are in Chit Shakti, but we have the choice, eternally the choice. We hover from one bank to the next. Eternally, not only in the conditioned state, but in the liberate state as well. Once we are reinstated in our Swarup-Siddhi, in our constitutional position as servitor of God, in the spiritual world, we still have the choice. We shouldn't be thinking that once we has pleased Krishna, that potentially everything is there. We can still make the wrong decision. Srila Prabhupada says in one class, even a gopi can fall down. But she won't fall down, but she can, she may. Just like you can go in the kitchen, put your hand in the fire, you turn the fire, and you can put your hand in the fire for 10 minutes. But you're not going to do it. So this is called Tatashta. We have the choice, eternally the choice. And we can see Krishna is such an expert teacher in the Gita because he always gives 2 options. Did you notice when Krishna swore the Gita? There's 2 options. He never at any point in time does he coerce Arjuna, does he influence Arjuna. Option number 1, Mogasha, Moga Karmano, Moga Gyan Vishitashaha, Rakshashim Asurim Seva, Prakritim Mohinim Shritaha. 9:12. This is one option. If you take Prakritim Mohinim Shritaha, you take shelter of Prakritim Mohini. Prakritim Mohini means? Yes, it means woman. Prakriti means, you're right. Prakritim Mohini. So if we take shelter of the feminine energy means Durga, basically.
Nature.
Sorry?
The nature.
The nature. And Prakriti is feminine. So if we take shelter of this feminine nature, Mogasha, all our hopes, Asha means hopes, destroyed. Mogasha, Moga Kamani, all our intentions to fulfill our fruitive desires, Moga, bewildered. Moga Gyan Dishitashaha, or aspiration for Gyan, knowledge, separate, independently about Krishna, God. Rakshasim Asurim Sheva. And we become one of those Rakshas, Asur. Rakshas means meat eater, flesh eater. Welcome to France. So, Asurim means Asur, the demon. And what kind of country we're living in? What kind of planet we're living in? For quite some time now, our leaders and people in general take shelter of Prakriti Mohini Shritaha. And the result of that is Rakshashim Asurim Sheva. So this is the end result.
Right.
That's good.
So this is one side of the Tata, one bank of the river. We are being flowed by the river of time. It's mentioned in the 12th canto that time erodes, just like water erodes the rock. You have seen, you go on the seashore, you will find the rocks are there, granite. They are eroded, they are caved in. They are caved in. Thank you, Prabhu. So even though water is liquid, rock is granite, so powerful, solid. Even after years and centuries, you can see the rock. It's caved in. So in the same way, time is eroding. It's eroding us. It's an energy of the Lord. Kala Sat, Kala Shakti. So that is why we have to, because we are eternally Tatashta. So we always have the choice. And in one sense, it's quite satisfying. Because as a little Jivatma, we are purposefully doing the right choice. So Lord Krishna appreciates, because he knows they have the choice. Have you seen Lord Shingadev or Lord Vandev having the choice? Can he act independently of Lord Krishna? Have you seen Lord Vandev, Ayagriv, Varahadev being antagonistic to Lord Krishna? Have you seen? Have you read about it?
No.
Why not? Because constitutionally they are anshas. Anshas means plenary portions. Or kala. Kala means portion of the portion. So they don't have this prerogative. They don't have this prerogative. We are so small, we are anuatma, we are kshara, we are fallible on top of that. But yet we have this prerogative to make the right choice. To keep on making the right choice. So this is what Krishna appreciates. Because he knows, this little fellow, he has the choice. Plus on top of that, he has the sanskar, the vasana. He has been doing the wrong, he has been slamming the door on me since time immemorial. Isn't it? So the vasanas are bad, sanskars are pretty bad. Vasana means material desires. Sanskar means the imprint. When you make a decision, when you speak, when you act, it creates an imprint on the mind. The mind retains from one life to the other. Remember? According to your imprint, your thoughts at the time of death, it will determine your destination. So it's quite scientific. So Lord Krishna appreciates so much because, and I think that conquers him, the love of that little entity, even though sometimes he gropes in the dark, sometimes he succumbs, as Sadaka, sometimes we succumb. But if we Jatashkado, Matkatasu, and the verse is there, Lord Krishna is telling Uddhav, the 11th canto, that if that fellow is carrying on listening to Krishna Katha, but all the while, as he traverses this pathway towards Godhead, it's going to take quite some time. As he moves on towards that destination, he may be, due to his vasana, sanskar from the past, he may succumb. But if he carries on, then he's going to make it. And he's considered a sadhaka, it's considered a pure sadhaka. Apichet Sudaracharo. Even at times, but Krishna Prabhupada says, just get up and carry on. Mm-hmm. So we have this, dual possibility all the time. And then if you don't do 9-12, Mokasha, Mogakamano, what's the option? Next verse. Matmanam tumam tartam, Devi prakriti mashita, Bhajantya manaso, Gyadam dutadi, Avyayam. This is the right choice. And we take shelter, Devi prakriti ashitaha. The next one, the previous one was prakriti mohini mashitaha. It's not the same, it's not the same consciousness. Not the same consciousness. 13, Devi prakriti mashitaha. And Bhajantya manaso, Ananya bhakti, he tries his best. As long as we stick to Anya Vidashita, Shunyam verse, we are properly situated. This is the, just like you play music, there's metronome, how do you say in English, this, to keep the tempo. This is the tempo. This verse is the tempo of our life. Do I fit to that verse? Irrespective of I'm being bombarded, I may be bombarded by nasty thoughts, nasty desires. How do I deal with it? Lord Krishna knows. He knows. And He knows where we're coming from. So, but He wants to see what he's got the prerogative, He's got the choice, He's Tatashta. What is He going to do with that choice? This is the beauty of being Tatashta, if you ask me. Because we have the choice. Who else has the choice? Shakti Tattva have no choice. Vishnu Tattva have no choice. They are themselves God. Shakti Tattva means the energy of God, stemming from Srimati Radharani herself. But we are in a particular Vibhinnamsha. Vibhinna means separated. So we are Amshas, but Vibhinna. And you know the example, Srila Prabhupada, the spark leaping out of the fire. We leapt out of the fire, we cannot deny. And where are we going to fall? On dry grass, on wet soil, or midway? Wherever we fell, that was bad already. That's granted, that's understood. But now we have to redeem ourselves. We have to reform our consciousness, just like this Bali. This is one of the very rare Kripa Siddhi case in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bali Maharaj is called Kripa Siddha. There's not Sadhana Siddha, Nitya Siddha, in between, Kripa Siddha. It's very rare. Kripa Siddha means, Prabhupada, one time, Guru Das Prabhu, he asked Prabhupada, what is Kripa Siddha? So Prabhupada, he just poked him in the belly. He said, I'm giving you $1 lakh.
What?
1 lakh, $100,000. This is Kripa Siddha. You didn't ask for it. Please take $100,000. So this is Kripa Siddha. So Bali, it's like that. I think remember we have noticed in the previous verses, my predecessors did it, Prahlad the first. So I should do it also. Irrespective of my guru is talking nonsense. Yes, sir. But I made up my mind already. So he did it. And look at the boon. He bypassed all other consideration and he found himself as a Mahajan. So this is extremely pertinent for us, this Leela. Because irrespective of what we did, irrespective of our position, or title. It reminds me when Bhakti Tirth Maharaj left the body, 2005, in Pennsylvania, Gitanagari. And of course, many devotees were there, Rabindranath Maharaj was there, so many of his disciples. And at the end, I remember of course, his disciples were calling him Maharaj. And at one point he said, I'm not Maharaj. It was like kind of revealing his nature, This is not my identity. I played the role, I was acting as your guru, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But again, it's another identity. It's another layer. It's another upadi. Savapadi vinirmutam tatpada nirmunam. So we can be, even in Krishna consciousness, we can be endowed with so many layers. Bona fide layers. Due to management, due to spiritual responsibilities. But at the end of the day, they are just identities. Spiritual identities. We have to assume those identities. We should not run away like Arjuna was trying to do in the beginning. But we should not over-identify ourselves also. Because Krishna is looking at. It's not the position how we perform. Okay, that's good. Yes, I appreciate. But how do we move about in this Tatastha Shakti region? How do we use or misuse our free will? Because that's going to determine the whole game, our whole destiny, our whole journey. How we move about in these waters, from one bank to the next. I remember Madhavendra Maharaj, he wrote the book, The Embankment of Separation. It's a beautiful book. The Embankment of Separation. How we are using our free will within those two banks to crave for Vipralambha Seva. Vipralambha Seva means separation from Krishna. It's interesting because we left Krishna because we didn't want him. And what is the antidote? The antidote? Separation. Service in separation. This is the highest. So in other words, beginning we were, I want to be separated. Please leave me alone. So it's quite paradoxical, you say in English? Paradoxical. Leave me alone. So we are separating ourselves from him. And what is the remedy to that? The ultimate remedy in separation. But now in pure love of God. We slammed the door on him, and the solution is to go back to him while being separated.
And it's better taste.
Yeah, and relishing that separation. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, between the two, Sambhog and Vipralambha, Mahaprabhu was himself experiencing this Vipralambha Seva. This is the mood of Srimati Radharani. Radhabha Duti Suvaritam Numi Krishna Swarupam. Is Krishna Swarup? Yes. But Radhabha and Radhaduti, he has taken those two things from Srimati Radharani, so he can relish the separation from Lord Krishna. So ultimately, the final lesson of Mahaprabhu is Vipralambha Seva. For Srila Prabhupada, those who are fond of Srila Prabhupada, some left after Prabhupada left, some carried on in separation. And they are thriving, they are prospering in their spiritual life. So, in other words, it's totally paradoxical. We left because of separation. We wanted to separate. And we did separate. Lord Krishna granted that separation. And the remedy, the solution, is to reconnect through separation, through divine separation, through loving separation. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you very much. If you have any questions, yes, Prabhu.
It made me understand what you say, that Bali Maharaj take more than he expect, even when he do by his own effort, he only get Indra place, heavenly planet, and he get more because Krishna had more that he can expect. And I make a comparison with Sanatan Goswami and
Yes.
who have a very good place in the minister, lot of money.
Rupa Sanatana.
Yeah.
Rupa also.
And he want to go with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he left a lot of material things to get nothing material, but in fact he doesn't expect that he gets much more than he left before.
Yeah, he didn't. Of course, he's a Manjari. We have to
Yes.
remember. Satan Goswami is a Manjari.
So it's
But
different.
he played
way,
it,
but-
yes. It's geometrically opposite.
Yes, but it's
Spiritual
the same.
is geometrically opposite. Everything is geometrically opposite, actually. When you look at it, this material world is a reflection, so it's geometrically opposite. You know the story of the 15th chapter, the banyan tree, inverted banyan tree. We just have to reverse our desire. It's very interesting. Everything is geometrically opposite. When you look at it very plainly, it's geometrically opposite.
even for us, we can release more than we expect before going into Krishna
Yeah.
consciousness.
Yeah, Vipralambha Seva means you just do it in separation, expecting the sambhog. Because if there is no sambhog, then there's no separation. You know? And if you only meet, then how do you want to create the suspense of losing the Vishayi, the object of love? We can see that even on the material plane. You're in love with a woman, woman is in love with a man. When they separate, they're already thinking, when are we going to meet next?
Yeah.
So it intensifies the relationship. So we can see, dramatically opposite. Everything is dramatically opposite. It's not a difficult philosophy, actually. Dramatically opposite philosophy. Yes, bro.
You were mentioning how this statement from Bhakti Tirtha saying that
Yes,
I'm not Maharaj.
Yeah, forego this identity of mine.
But for me, that remember is because he's remembering his eternal identity, where he's serving Krishna.
Yeah.
But then after you also affirm, but we also need that spiritual
Yeah.
entity.
That's why he played it all along until the very end.
So
He didn't say that too prematurely. But at the end of when he was about to leave, he made it clear that I'm not also this identity. Our Swarup-Siddhi is way beyond that. Once we are reinstated in our ontological position, we don't know what it is. But it's somewhere. It is there. We are Jiva, we are Jivatma, we are unique. I cannot become you, you cannot become me. Never. You cannot become Krishna, yes, we know. But even ourselves, we cannot change our post. I cannot become. We are eternally distinct. This is the beauty of this philosophy.
and can our distinction change according to the association we have?
Yes, of course. Sadhu Bhava, what is that verse? Sadhu Sangha Svato Vare. We should associate with higher devotees. But still, we are distinct from those higher devotees, eternally. Prabhupada gives the example of jet planes. You know, they meet in the underground, in the office. This is our strategy. We're going there, we're going to check on them, let's say the enemy, we may bombard them. But once they are, each one of them in the plane, in the jet plane, fighters, they may fly in formation, but still they are single-handedly in each plane, fighting plane, jet plane. So this is the beauty of this philosophy. We are achintya bed abed, always the same. We are alone and not alone. We are alone. So this philosophy pervades everything. Achintya bed abed. It pervades everything. We are here. We're not here. How are we not here? The consciousness can be with Krishna, or the consciousness can be in Maya. You may be in the temple, you may be in Fumen. Where's your consciousness? You may be in I don't know, in some no man's land, and you may be Krishna conscious. Devotees are apologetic to Srila Prabhupada. Oh, it must be such a tough place for you in New York City. No, it's amazing. It's a great place to praise. Because his consciousness is Vrindavan. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.